Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at the whiskies and bourbons to look out for in the month of January 2024. Run that video. Alright then folks, welcome back to the Whiskey Cove, and thank you everybody at home for joining us. It is December 26th. This video is coming out on a Tuesday, so a very Merry Christmas. Hopefully yesterday you folks had a fantastic day, and let's see what the new year brings and New Year's Eve. Hopefully you'll have an equally good experience there as well. So if you don't already know, we hit the 5,000 subscriber mark, and I'm so humbled. Thank you so much to everybody at home who just went ahead and pressed the subscribe button, because it lets me know that there's a few people out there that kind of like watching the videos, and I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for doing that. And with the 5,000 subscribers, that comes the 5,000 free subscriber giveaway. So we already posted a little bit about that on YouTube and on Facebook. If you're not part of our Facebook group, Rocky Mountain Whiskey Society, it's all down below in the description. So if that's something that you want to be a part of or just follow for updates, it's a really good way to engage in me through Facebook, and I post loads of updates through that group. So definitely join that. So the 5,000 subscriber giveaway is going to be this coming Friday. So just before New Year's Eve weekend. So it's going to be 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. All the information will be down below in the description. It's going to be a live subscriber giveaway. We will poll 6 people. We'll probably do 2 at the beginning, 2 in the middle, and then 2 at the end is how I was thinking about doing it. So definitely make sure to see if you win by tuning into that, or just watching it afterwards to see if you are one of the lucky winners. And we will be closing down when you can submit entries when we start the show, when we start the subscriber giveaway. So there is still time to get your entry in. With that being said, let's get into today's video, shall we? And that is one of the favorite videos of the channel, and that is the whiskies to look out for in the forthcoming month. So we're at the back end here of December, and we're moving into January. So there's not a great deal coming out in January, but there is some absolute hitters. And then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the bottles that are coming out throughout the year. Just a couple that stand out to me and something that we can have a little discussion about. With that being said, let's dive into bottle number 1. And that is because this is going to be Bowman's Brothers from the A. Smith Bowman Distillery, are back with a batch 3 cast strength bourbon. So you're probably thinking that I don't really live in Virginia. There's probably no chance of me being able to get this bottle. However, there is a way for everybody at home to be able to get this bottle, and I'll explain more a little bit later here. So A. Smith Bowman Distillery is Virginia's oldest distillery. It announces the return of its award-winning cast strength Virginia straight bourbon whiskey, now in its 3rd annual year. The cast strength showcases the excellent craft in distilling bourbon enthusiasts have come to expect from A. Smith Bowman Distillery. So, if you don't know much about Bowman, they are owned by Buffalo Trace / Sazerac there. So they get their distillate from Buffalo Trace. So we believe it's Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1, which is the same of Stag, Buffalo Trace, Eagle Rare. So that's their low rye distillate, and this is going to be about 10% rye or less. It's a non-disclosed mash bill, but this is kind of where people believe it to be, just from rumors and whatnot. So they send that distillate out to Virginia. Then the Bowman Brothers Distillery redistill it one more time, and then they age it on site at their location. So again, this is going to be the batch 3 cast strength. Last year's was 10 years old. This one is going to carry a 9-year age statement, coming in at 67.55% ABV, or 135.1. Still really, really high in terms of ABV. I believe last year's was hazmat, so 70.1 or 70.5, I believe it was. It's a little bit less this year, but so many people rave about these releases. I would love to get my hands on one of these, and you never know, I might be lucky. MSRP is at a measly $99, which is quite phenomenal priced for what you're getting. So how can you get one of these bottles? So you have 2 options. You can either go down to the distillery there and maybe roll that dice of being able to stand in line and get one on the day that they release it. Or you can go over to the Bowman's website. I don't know the website off the top of my head. I'm sure if you type in A. Smith Bowman Distillery on Google, it'll take you there. So between January 3rd, 2024 at noon, Eastern Time, and then January 10th, 2024 Eastern Time, there will be a lottery which you can sign up for on the website to potentially be get a chance to win this bottle, or win it to buy, or win it for the right to buy. I know people talk a little bit about winning when it comes to like these sort of lotteries, but you still have to pay for the bottle itself. So yeah, go over to the website between January 3rd and 10th to get your lottery entry submitted, and hopefully one of you folks at home will be able to buy a 750ml Bowman Brothers Cask Strength Batch 3 for just $99. So don't forget to go ahead and do that. So that was bottle number 1. Everything just fell off. Moving on and kind of staying with the Sazerac Buffalo Trace umbrella here, because we're talking about Buffalo Trace. So Buffalo Trace are back with a new whiskey from Master Distiller Harlan Wheatley and 11 times Country Music Award winner, singer-songwriter Chris Stapleton. You know, the guy who sings Tennessee Whiskey and a couple of other songs. They're bringing out a new whiskey together, a new brand under the Buffalo Trace umbrella called Traveller Whiskey. It's a first of its kind collaboration between Buffalo Trace Distillery and obviously Chris Stapleton. So we've seen this before with like Eric Church and Jack Daniels is one, Metallica and I think it's Wolves Distillery, or might have been Willet, I can't remember exactly that collaboration, but a few people have done it. But this is the first time that Buffalo Trace have done it, because I've never seen Buffalo Trace do a collaboration with a singer-songwriter, or anybody for that matter, off the top of my head. Maybe back in the day with like stores and whatnot, but nothing of this ilk before. So they go on to say, the Master Distiller Wheatley goes on to say, in creating Traveller, we tried over 50 different recipes, experimenting, tasting and adjusting until we found a complex and approachable flavor profile worth the whiskey drinker who will enjoy it. In the end, there was one clear winner, blend number 40, that everybody agreed to be worthy of the Traveller whiskey, said Wheatley. So how much will this cost? So I wasn't able to really nail down a price for this bottle. The research that I did went everywhere from like $25 to $50, but I can imagine it's going to be under $100, and I'm just assuming at this point, just if you think in line with some of the other stuff and what Buffalo Trace prices generally sit at. If we take a little look at the label here, you can see that the front label, the back label goes on to say, good whiskey is like a good song. It requires no explanation. One taste should tell you everything you need to know. No one has to tell you about it or feel about it. You simply settle and enjoy it. And then it goes on to talk a little bit about that blend number 40 is the one that they ended up on. So again, not sure of the pricing on that one. Hopefully it's going to stay low. Probably going to be allocated much like most things from Buffalo Trace, but maybe you're fortunate and maybe someone who out there who really likes Chris Stapleton. I listen to the music every now and again, and it would be a pretty cool bottle to have on the shelf, and it would be a good bottle to impress your guests if you like. So that was the Traveller Whiskey in collaboration with Buffalo Trace and Chris Stapleton. So next up, we are going to New York, and that is because we're going to the Brooklyn Bakery, Kings County Distillery. So this is some of the oldest New York distillers coming out of New York recently, and this bottle is going to be called Lost Lantern, shining a light on the independent spirit. So this is the 2023 edition. Alcohol by volume is going to be 65.2% or 130.4 proof, if my math serves me well, and it does. If you want to be able to get this bottle, you can go online and buy it. MSRP is going to be about $100. The mash bill on this is going to be 80% New York grown corn, 20% malted barley, and the age is going to be between 5 and 6 years. There's only going to be 396 bottles produced. So if you want to, definitely go over to that website as soon as you can, over at the Brooklyn Bakery Distillery website, to see if you would like to buy it. Like I said, it's aged 5 to 6 years, 65% ABV. It's from a craft distillery. So if you're someone who likes New York or who likes craft distilleries and you want this whiskey shipped to your house, if you're from a state that can get whiskey shipped to your house, then definitely go over and check this out. Yes, it's $100, which is a little bit pricey, but I think you're getting a whole lot of whiskey, you know, uncut and unfiltered, 65.2% ABV. And if we take a look at the back label here, it says Kings County Distillery, the oldest distillery in New York City, creates some of the country's most acclaimed and sought after whiskeys. The distillery brings together American European distilling traditions and uses New York grown grains to make whiskeys that embody the essence and energy of the country's largest city. So you know, again, I didn't know until reading that label that they were New York's oldest distillery. I don't know too many distilleries in New York. However, I think it might be worth trying because it could be available for you folks at home to get. So then moving on from Brooklyn Bakery, a King's Cat Distillery. And this is a bottle that we kind of talked about a few months ago, but we weren't quite sure when the bottle was going to be getting released, and that was in the summertime. So I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I'm just going to put on your radar at home now. And that is the Old Forester 1924 10-year. So it has been released. If you're someone who is in social circles when it comes to whiskeys on the internet, you will maybe have noticed some pictures posting. I believe that it's available in North Carolina, which is state-run, so that's become available there. We don't quite know when the distribution is going to be coming around the country, so definitely be on red alert for this. It might start as allocated, but from what I'm hearing is that it does want to slide into the Whiskey Row series, the regular series. So don't overpay for it. This might be one worth sitting on, kind of like Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Rye. Even though the first wave got kind of absorbed quite fast, I do think that you'll see it start coming out a little bit more, and I think that will be the same with Old Forester 24. So this is going to be a 10-year, 50% ABV or 100 proof whiskey. It looks like the MSRP is going to be around $125, $135, because that's the price that they said. Folks were saying they were paying for it in North Carolina, which is state-run. So maybe in like California, Colorado, you might be paying closer to 150, or New York, New Jersey, it might even be a little bit higher than that. Just depends where you are around the country, but definitely do keep an eye out for that bottle. So with that being said, I just want to take a quick look at, oh, actually we have one more bottle before we move on to the forthcoming bottles throughout the year, and that is because we are going to Oregon, and that is Wolf's Spirit Puncher's Chance Bourbon. So Puncher's Chance is the unfiltered belt, is the limited release 3-cask blend of fine bourbon and Irish whiskey. So this is out of Eugene, Oregon, and this should be available coming soon in January. So if you like something a little bit different with a blend of bourbon and Irish, this might be for you. So it goes on to say the Unified Belt is the first cross-category whiskey blend from Wolf Spirit. First into the ring is a 4-year-old high rye-based Kentucky straight bourbon distilled with a proprietary yeast and aged for 4 years in barrels featuring a number 4 alligator char at the traditional rickhouse in Daneville, Kentucky. The mash bill for this is 70% corn, 20% rye, and 10% malted barley. And then the second is a 14-year-old bourbon finished in first fill Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso sherry casks for up to 15 months. The mash bill of this precious liquid is 84% corn, 8% rye, and then 10% malted barley. So then with that, then they also include that there's a 4-year-old Irish whiskey crafted from 100% malted barley and proprietary yeast. So if you want one of these bottles, it's going to cost you $150. Be on the lookout for it. You might be able to find some on their website out over there. This is going to be 96 proof or 48% ABV. $150, craft distillery, very, very unique. 3 different whiskeys with a Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso finish on one, bourbon on the other, and Irish on the other. It'd be really interesting to see how those flavors all come together. So definitely go and check that out if that's something that you will like. So let's talk a little bit about some of the whiskeys and bourbons that are going to be dotted around throughout the year. They're not going to be super allocated unless something changes, but maybe one's just to put on your radar that you might find at the beginning and throughout the year. So the first one is, and if you don't already know, Maker's Mark's wood finishing series. Previous one had finished last year with a BEP or EBP, or whatever license plate combination, but it finished last year. So they're back with a new finishing series this year, and this new release is going to be called the Heart Release. So this is going to be 70% corn, 16% soft winter wheat, and then 14% malted barley. The MSRP for the previous wood release series was like $60 to $70. It might take a little bit of an increase, so expect maybe like $70. This one is showing it's going to be 56.3% alcohol or 112.6 proof. It's going to be bottled in February 2024, aged on 10 virgin oak staves, so keep an eye out for that one. Next up as well, we have High West, and they are bringing out a shelf stable bottled in bond rye. So you'll just be seeing it on shelves, kind of like the Campfires, kind of like the Rendezvous rye, the Double Rye, and the American Prairie. So they want something. This is going to be coming in bulk, so don't overpay for it when you first see it. The Campfire ranges between $50 and $60, so it's probably expected to be somewhere around that mark. I can almost guarantee you that this is going to be all of their own distillate because it's bottled in bond rye. So it probably has to be, obviously they could have got it from MGP or somewhere else, but just the fact that they normally blend that stuff, which is why you never normally see High West bottled in bond. So that's why I think that this is from their own rickhouse, because of that bottled in bond. Next up, we are also going to see Russell's Reserve 15-year bourbon. So they did the 13-year release, and I guess because they had so much success with that, they're bringing back a 15-year Russell's release. It's believed to be 58.6% ABV or 117.2 proof. I'm sure the MSRP, well, they doubled on the Russell's Reserve 13 from year 1 to 3. It was 75, that was, and then it went up to 150. So this is probably going to be like the single rickhouses where people are paying like $300 for. Expect to see $300 price tag slapped on this Russell's Reserve 15, which is a shame because they've been doing some really great stuff lately, but they've just been gouging, which is a shame. I feel like it's killing the market a little bit, but I guess we will wait and see. Next up, Wild Turkey Master's Keep Triumph is going to be coming out next year, which is 10 years old, 52% ABV or 104 proof. The Wild Turkeys, these special, the Master's Keep bottles are always $300 plus. I've never bought one myself because I can never really justify paying that sort of money for those bottles when there's not so much fanfare going on about them. I think it's kind of like the Booker's thing, where it's like a nice fancy case and it kind of looks cool there as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's video, a little bit about more information about some bottles to see maybe coming out in the future. And when we get more information about them and when they're going to be coming out specifically, we will bring them into the channel on this show and talk about them in a little bit more depth. However, some really interesting bottles to look out for in January: the Puncher's Chance Old Forester 1924, and don't forget to sign up for that A. Smith Cask Strength Bowman lottery for your chance to be, to buy one of those cask strength bourbons, because I'm definitely going to do that. Probably get the wife to do it as well, because I really want one of those cask strength bourbons. Also as well, if you haven't already, go over to the Whiskey Cove's website, TheWhiskeyCove.Square.site, to submit your ticket for the free giveaway where you can win some excellent bottles. Join us this coming Friday, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. All the information is in the description down below. We'll probably do it about an hour 30. We'll see how it goes, but we'll make some people's New Year happy, I'm sure of that. So as we drink through the world's whiskies, one glass at a time, cheers.